The Play is the Thing, with your host, Judy Sleed. Today's guest, award-winning filmmaker and a wonderful woman, Christiane Arbesu. Now, my favorite person, my mom, Judy Sleed.
Well, hello. So nice to have you on the other side. You've been making all those movies about me, and I want the whole world to see what you can do. You can do better than anyone else in this world. And you named it.
I am Judith.
I am Judy. Okay, so can we roll it? So everybody else could see it. This is just the
trailer.
the trail, the trailer.
Hey, Jeff. It's Christiane. How are you? I'm here with my camera guy, and we're ready to film you and your mom. So you ready to be interviewed to tell me your story?
Well,
What do you think?
I'm ready, but it's gonna take a long time. I lived a long time.
Did you know what was going on in Europe?
I didn't know what was going on in Europe because my mother shielded me. Every time there was any talk about anything bad, she would cover my ears.
Did you ever tell your children your story?
I didn't tell them, and I guess it was a mistake. I thought I was preventing them from sadness or cruelty, whatever. I never told them.
All the kids knew from a very young age that you grew up without a mother and a father and a brother, and your entire family were killed when you were a very little girl.
I feel that it's important to tell the story, so it should stay in history that this did happen.
If you had one word to describe yourself, what would that word be?
Survivor, I think.
I was afraid to say I was Jewish. In college, you said there was somebody who...
Thought I had horns, but I told her I didn't, and I let her feel my head.
You think this was possible when you were 12 years old, hiding in the bombed-out shelter in Hungary?
If it wasn't for you, we all wouldn't be here.
I feel like I have a family now. We're doing a documentary about my life because I'm so special. Well, every time I see it, I tear up a little bit. But you did such a wonderful job. You took me to see my grandchildren and grandchildren who live upstate. You drove me all the way to Woodstock, which is upstate, and to Saugerties. And it was so nice of you.
Oh, it was my pleasure. That I have to say, your grandson Matt, that was the most delicious Thanksgiving meal I've ever had in my life. It was incredible.
Yes.
And Otto, my cameraman, he loved it as well. I mean, we're still talking about it. That was November, and here we are, almost July. But no, it was wonderful. You have a beautiful family. And your great-grandchildren were just incredible.
So cute. I mean, when I think of it, that if I didn't survive, they wouldn't be here.
That's true.
It was just a fluke that I escaped being killed. And I didn't even realize what I was doing. It was just an instinct that I just got up and I saw a big hole from the bomb that made a big hole in the building. And I said, I think I could fit through it. So I got up and I didn't even look back if anybody was seeing me. Well, I did look back once or twice. And nobody was watching me, so I went on the other side of that building and I was safe because later on I found out that people who stayed in, they got all killed in the gas chambers. So I was meant to survive.
Absolutely. And look at the legacy that you're, look at what you've created. It's incredible. That's why your story is so powerful that it was something I felt I needed to tell.
Yes. And I was always wondering, how come me? How come I am the one who... I always felt I was chosen by God, that I should survive, that I should carry on some of his teachings.
Yeah.
And look, I have 3 beautiful children, and they carry on. And now their children are carrying on.
Mm-hmm.
So, shall I say that they should be careful what they carry on? Oh. Yeah, sometimes I would love to remind them what they do and what they tell other people, that they should go in their footsteps.
Yeah.
Because they don't know that we are, maybe they don't know we are the chosen people. Some of the chosen people. I don't aim to be the only one.
No, I think that I think they do appreciate your strength and what you've created, in terms of family. Definitely, I could see that when I met them, and I think that comes across in your film, that they definitely have a deep appreciation for what you've done and how you've survived.
Oh yes, and I'm forever grateful. I feel so lucky and fortunate that I met you.
Oh.
Because I fell in love with you as soon as I saw you.
I'm blushing.
You are such a warm person and true, and there's nothing false about you.
Well, that's a big compliment, and thank you. I try to be true.
And we learned a lot about each other.
We did.
And I think we share some
Your birthday.
birthdays.
Well, your birthday is the exact same birthday that was my mother's birthday. And your brother's birthday, who passed away, is the same day as my sister who passed away. So we definitely have that in common,
Yes.
amongst other things. And you love the arts, so do I. I think that they're so important for the soul, for raising people's consciousness and for teaching us the difference between right and wrong good and evil. They just elevate you to a place. It's that I don't know what we would do without them. I went to the Pollock House yesterday.
Oh, did
Yes,
you?
for the first time. I've been out here for 20 years, and it was spectacular. The house, seeing the floor that he painted on, and then we ended up going to the cemetery where he's buried, about maybe 3 miles away. And I don't know if you've ever been to that cemetery. It's
No.
incredible. It's this creative burial, sacred burial ground in the Springs. Yeah, I'm going to take you there.
Yes.
We'll go if it's on our way back to your house today. You have to see it. It's incredible. I've never seen anything like it.
I like to look at cemeteries.
Oh, this one's it's out of those. It's unparalleled. Yeah.
Well, I was just talking to my previous guest, Russell, and he told me he was in Italy, and I told him I was in Italy.
Uh-huh.
But what I didn't tell him is I also like to look at cemeteries, old cemeteries in Italy. It is, I like to look and read what it says on the tombstone.
Yes.
And I was trying to picture how old they were and how they died. And yes, I like to look at them, what their lives was like.
Yeah, you're a good storyteller.
Yes, and shall I mention the fight of the crayons? I didn't bring a book, but this is about you, and not about me.
Okay. What do you want to know? Tell me. I'll tell you.
You were born in.
Let's see.
Canada.
Yes, in Montreal.
You were born in Canada, and then the first time, what your ancestors are in.
Are Cuban. My
Cuba.
parents and my 3 sisters were born in Cuba, and they escaped to Montreal, and where I was born, and then my brother was born 7 years later.
And you made a big trip back to Cuba.
I did. I went for the first time, because I was born in Canada. I went to meet all of my family, because all of my family stayed in Cuba, and I went to document meeting them. I made a documentary called I Am Arbesu in 2016, and I finished filming in 2017. So I met my entire family, and most of them now live in the United States or in Mexico and Spain and Montreal. So that's interesting, from the time I was there up until now, so many have left the country.
Well, I have seen that documentary, and it was so interesting. I could hardly take my eye off it. How you got to meet all those people, and they were so happy to see you. And it is amazing to see that when people don't see each other for so many years, and all of a sudden, there you are, here I am.
Well, I never met them, Judy. This was the first time. I'd never.
Well, that's what's so interesting,
Yes.
to see that
Sure.
you never see them.
Well, I guess that's the power of love and family. That there's something in our DNA that it was an instant love affair.
Was this the first documentary you made?
It was the first long documentary, yes, that I made. My first one.
That's when you decided, hey, I'm going to make a documentary about Judith.
I did. No, well, not at that moment. No, because I did a mini documentary on Joan Tulp. You met her. She's the mayor of Amagansett. And thanks to Michael Clark here at LTV, he had introduced me to Joan. So I did her story, and then he had introduced me to you. You had called me, remember? But I was in the middle of a very busy project, a training video project that I was working on. And you and I spoke a lot. And I said, as soon as I'm finished, I will come and I will tell your story. And we didn't know what it was going to be. We didn't know what your story was going to turn out to be, did we? We didn't know if it was going to be a documentary, a short film. But here we are. It's a 90-minute documentary about Judy Sleed.
About Judy Sleed. Well, I was only kidding when I said that the next thing you did was me, because I know that you did one with Joan, and I have seen it, and I was amazed. It was really very, very interesting. It showed not only what she was saying and she was doing, but you picked up pictures that she didn't have, but you found pictures of the areas where she lived.
Oh, in Brooklyn, sure, and in Antwerp.
I found that amazing that you showed all the pictures. You found it yourself where she lived.
I did. Well, that's thanks to the internet, right? You can find anything these days, which is amazing.
Yeah, but you did find it.
I did. In Brooklyn, because she was there.
You found a picture of Eleanor Roosevelt.
Well, she met Eleanor Roosevelt.
Yes.
Right? When she was campaigning in her area in Brooklyn.
Then
So-
you can find all the interesting things
Yes.
and interjected where it was necessary, so it looked good.
Oh, good. Well, that's also thanks to Gnu, who works at LTV, and he filmed and edited the piece. So it's not just me, right? It's other people
Well,
too. But
You know, not just you, but you're the queen. And you're going to do more, because I know so many other people who would love to have you do
I'd
their
love it.
stories.
I would love to do that. I find people's stories so interesting, especially the people that are out here in the East End. You know, I'd love to know why they moved out here. What is their relationship to being out here? What is their favorite thing to do out here? And I'd rather hear it from older people that have been here for
The
years.
interesting thing is my previous guest, Russell, I kept asking him about his ancestors, and he just kept saying he's from Long Island. I said, where did they come from? Long Island, Long Island. I said, well, they must have come from somewhere, but generations and generations, they lived here. I mean, originally.
In East Hampton or in the Hamptons or?
In the Hamptons.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
It's been like, I forget how many generations ago they came from Poland. And that's why I love to interview people, because mostly people come from all sorts of countries. And I like to hear about that.
Right.
Yes.
Well, I'm in Hampton Bays.
Hampton Bays. Well, that's still the Hamptons.
It's still the Hamptons.
Yes.
It's a hidden gem. It's a good secret. Well, mind you, now I'm telling people about it, but it really is such a beautiful. I love it out there.
Yeah. Well, I live in East Hampton, and Wainscott. This is Wainscott, right?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
so. I'm lucky I found my way here. I'm not great with directions, as you know.
And this is a little part of the Hamptons is Wainscott, And they say Sag Harbor is also Wayne Scott.
Okay. Oh, I thought Sag Harbor was part of East Hampton. I think
No.
Wayne, no? I don't know, but I love Sag Harbor. That's also one of mine. Well, I love everything out here.
Yeah, and then there is East Hampton,
Right.
West Hampton, and
Quogue, Hampton Bays.
Southampton is the biggest. And the surrounding towns, they don't have the name Hamptons, but they are.
Right. Right.
So
Speaking of Hampton, Southampton, I produced a video for the Southampton Animal Shelter. They have a gala every year, so it's a who we are video. We do a lot of those types of videos to let people know about the organization that they're going to donate money to. And when I was filming there, which was last May, a couple of the people that I had interviewed were suggesting that I adopt a dog. And I didn't want to adopt a dog because I just lost my other dog, Daisy, who was a little mini dachshund. She was about 14 years old. And, a couple of people were like, why don't you think of getting a dog? And I was like, no, I have a cat. He's 15 years old. He's very happy. And I said, if you get a dachshund, please let me know. And of course, they never received, no one would donate a dachshund to any shelter out here. And don't you know it, a couple of months after finishing the video and finishing my other projects, it's about maybe 3 or 4 months later, about 4 months later, they send me a text message telling me that someone has dropped off 3 dachshunds, a little girl with her 2 brothers at the shelter. And would I be interested in adopting? And I was reticent at first and no, and then my friend Lisa went to check her out and she was like, no, she's perfect, she's great with dogs, she's so quiet, you won't even know she's with you. And September 18th, I went to the shelter and I picked her up. And she's here, I brought her with me today.
Oh,
Can I show you my little...
oh, please do.
Okay,
I
let me
was
show you.
wondering what you have in that bag.
Oh, in this bag is,
I thought you just
Come
brought
on.
your
Oh,
lunch
she's-
with
oh,
you.
I'm sorry, she's busy sleeping.
At the moment,
Oh.
she's lying on her side. This is what Sylvie does. She loves to sleep, but
Just like me.
yeah. I wish I could sleep the way she sleeps. Let me see how. Sylvie, do you want to just make your debut? Oh,
yeah.
here we go. She's coming too.
Hey,
Sylvie,
how are
look
you?
who it is. She just had a bath today. She
Oh.
hates baths. So she came from the Southampton Animal Shelter, which is a great organization, as is ARF, and that's my little baby. That's my baby Sylvie.
Hi.
Hi.
I know.
She was in your documentary.
Yes.
I always have to put her in. She always finds her way into something.
And I met her before, and she's always so good.
She's very well behaved. My fear is that I'm going to, because she goes in her carry case and is so incredibly quiet, that I'm going to forget you. But no, that's
No.
not possible. And she has 2 different color eyes, like David Bowie. One blue eye and one brown eye. I don't know if you can see it from there, but she says hello.
You know, my son loves dogs.
Oh, I know he does, and he takes care of the kittens, all the feral cats. I know.
Yes,
I
and
know.
I was thinking that maybe we should get a dog. And
That's it, well,
You know where to go. You know where to go. You've got the Southampton Animal Shelter and ARF. You can apply there. Oh, there's a lot of Sylvie here. I'm not used to.
I think it would help him a lot because he has so much love to give.
Oh, and what better person? Or
Yes.
I see them as little people. They're great. They open our hearts.
Yes, and pretty soon he's going to have a birthday.
Oh, that's right. Jeff's got a birthday, same day as O.J. Simpson. That's how I know. That's how I remember. Not that I know O.J. Simpson's birthday, but should I forget, I can.
Where I live,
Mhm.
her name was Lois Wright with a W.
Okay.
Her birthday was the same as Jeff's,
Oh,
the
okay.
9th.
Okay.
And her claim to fame was that she spent over a year in the house of the, oh my gosh, Jacqueline Kennedy's sisters, stepsisters in the Hamptons.
Okay.
They still have the house there.
Oh, okay. I don't know the house. I was thinking of Grey Gardens, but that's
Yeah,
her,
that's it.
but that's not, that's Jackie's cousins. Those are her cousins.
Yeah, well, I'm
Oh,
a
so she
little
stayed-
off with the information.
Okay. So she
And
stayed
my
at Grey
friend-
Gardens. Wow, interesting. I've never seen the house, except in the
I
documentary.
never did either,
No.
but Grey Gardens, that, and she had written a book,
Mhm.
a booklet, I should say, saying I don't know how many days living in Grey Gardens.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I'd like to see that or read that.
Yeah, I have the book.
Okay. Is that one of the books that you were going to give me that have we found the book that you were going to lend?
No, but
Uh-huh.
instead I will, because I never did find that book. I don't
Unbelievable.
know, it's unbelievable. I always say that God is playing games
Tricks.
with me.
Yes.
Well, maybe that's the game. Maybe God wants me to give you Grey Gardens.
Instead. So I'll get it now when I drive you home. Let's hope you know where that one is.
Yes. And
Should-
I read the whole thing, and it was so wonderful to have you here.
It's wonderful to be
I
here. I love
feel-
seeing you.
I feel I stole you from the world, because not many people get you
Ah,
on this end of the camera.
that is true. That's very, very true. It's not my favorite place to be, but since I'm with you, it's okay. I can do it.
Because I have a lot of affection towards you.
Oh, as I to you.
And every time I talk to you or something, I light up. Even if I'm in a bad mood, I cheer up.
Oh, that's so. Oh, you're just so full of love today. That's wonderful. Thank you.
And who knows, maybe we'll be there at the Academy Awards.
That from your mouth to God's ears. Wouldn't that be something, Judy? Well, it's an
with
important
God's
story.
will.
It's an important story that needs to be told. And there's so many Holocaust deniers. So I hope that this film can open people's eyes, especially the teens and the youth. I think it's a film that should be shown.